Today's lecture is on functions of cerebellum and its applied. Now this is in the continuation of lecture part 1. And then we will learn about the contributions of the cerebellum to overall motor control. So it plays a very important role in motor activity. So we have to learn about the contribution of the cerebellum to overall motor. Now to revise little bit about the part 1, we must know that it consists of 3 parts. In the center, middle is the vermis. And the later part is divided into 2, intermediate zone of hemisphere and the lateral zone of hemisphere. So at this part is the anterior lobe and the foli when apart, little bit apart, is the posterior lobe. One more important inferior posterior part is the flocculonodular lobe. So this is the archicerebellum, lateral one is the new cerebellum, anterior one is the pallicerebellum. Now after knowing the 3 main parts division of the cerebellum, then we must know that this part is connected to the spinal cord mainly by the spinocerebellar tract. This part is connected to the vestibular system that is concerned with the that is equilibrium and tone. This part, new cerebellum, is concerned with the rapid movement of muscles, alternate ballistic movements, and as it is connected, it is, as the name indicates, new cerebellum, and it is connected to the cerebral cortex. So in precise, we can say that there is no oscillation or the movement. When we do the movement of the muscle, there is no oscillation. So you will not see any oscillation normally because there is always a damping effect which is generated in the cerebellum, and it prevents overshooting or undershooting its object mark. So there is no oscillation because first this action begins or initiated by the cerebral cortex. Then after few milliseconds, due to negative feedback mechanism signals from Purkinje cell arrive and it prevents overshooting its mark. So if you do the finger nose test, person is asked to stretch the forearm first in a horizontal direction and then touch the fingertip of subject of the examiner, and the same finger he has to now proceed and approach towards the tip of the nose. Now this section will not be done if there is a cerebellar lesion. Second most important function is a turn on and turn off output signals from the cerebellum. Means during ballistic movement, agonistic muscle turn on at the start of the movement. At the end of the movement, there is a turn off to the agonistic muscle. Then error signals from climbing fibers. So it also do signaling, or you can say correct the errors which is done for each movement, and this is done by the climbing fibers which originate from inferior ovary nucleus. Now this is a homunculus which is represented in the cortex of cerebellum. Now in the anterior first half, this is the upper half, you will find inverted homunculus, mainly of the head, neck, trunk area or middle part, and peripheral limbs. This is inverted. In the posterior part, there is a mirror image of the homunculus, or the representation of the part. I have not started my lecture proper. Now you have to first understand this point, that this is the muscle. Suppose the flow diagram, this cerebellum, motor cortex, thalamus. Now the intermediate zone or the cerebellum play important role to maintain the movement, tone and the posture of the muscles. Now how? The cerebellum is connected to the thalamus. Thalamus is the, and then it indirectly connected to the motor cortex through the thalamus. This is the one connection. Second connection, the cerebellum, they are connected to the red nucleus, and through red nucleus, reticulospinal, rubrospinal tract, it is connected to the muscle. So first, how it is connected to the muscle? Through the thalamus, motor cortex, corticospinal tract. So one loop is start from the cerebellum, then thalamus, motor cortex, and then it goes to the muscle. This is one connection, one control, one influence, one way of the influence. Second way of the influence is that the cerebellum, first impulse originated, action potential originated here in cerebellum, reached to the red nucleus, then in a reticulospinal tract and rubrospinal tract, again it regulate the tone and posture and the movement. This is the second influence. And in turn of that, muscles send impulses to the cerebellum through the spinocerebellar tract, ventral and dorsal. So the muscle is always under influence of the cerebellum, but this is at unconscious level. This is at unconscious level. So this is at work at the unconscious level. Motor cortex act at a conscious level. So unconscious level also influence your conscious level. So the unconscious level, it regulate the action, motor action, via the thalamus, red nucleus, and by in turn they get the impulses by the spinocerebellar tract. You will find that Purkinje cell fires action potential at the rate of the 100 action potential. When it generates at the rate of 100 action potential, then nucleus cells generate the double of Purkinje cells. So the if suppose it is 100, then it is generate the 200. So whatever the output of the cerebellum is depend upon the balance between the positive and the negative influence on deep nuclear cell. So the deep nuclear cell is always influenced by Purkinje cell, and it is always send inhibitory impulses. So deep nuclear cell always inhibited by Purkinje cells, but in turn it excited always or have excitatory impulses from climbing fibers, Moser fibers. And the combination or the balance of these three parts resultant output is the cerebellum, output of the cerebellum. So the basket cell and the stellate cell always are inhibitory. We must know. The function of the cerebellum impulses reaches to the thalamus, then goes to the muscle. Red nucleus, again it reaches to the muscle, corticospinal tract, while the thalamus again reaches to the muscle. Phylogenetically, we know this is the oldest part, intermediately older, and it is the new. Now, the unconscious regulation or the balance, tone, coordination with voluntary movement. This is the function of cerebellum. So it works at unconscious level and also regulate the voluntary movement. The flocculonodulus receives proprioceptive impulses from vestibular nuclei, and responsible for function is equilibrium and balance and spatial orientation. So if there is lesion of this part, will cause ataxia, gait disturbance, walking difficulty. And you can say this is a ataxia at unconscious level. So either closed eyes or opened eye person cannot walk properly. Spinocerebellum vermis part. It receives proprioceptive input from the spinocerebellar tract and also from visual and auditory system. It is responsible for posture and tone. Neocerebellum, posterior lobe, it is well connected to the cerebral cortex via the corticopontine pathways. Through the corticopontine pathways, it is well connected to the opposite cerebral cortex. It coordinates with skilled movements. So there are three main different parts of the cerebellum responsible for three main actions. So what are the causes which can cause or which can do cerebellar disorders or cerebellar lesions? Mainly ischemia, demyelination and tumor. So we can summarize in this way that whenever there is a cerebellar disorder and injury to the lateral zone, it will affect voluntary movements because it is very well connected to the cerebral cortex. So it will affect voluntary movement of the extremities. And there is always ataxia and intentional tremor. Which type of the tremor? Intentional tremor. Next slide. EMG with the normal cerebellar functions. Normal pattern of the EMG electromyogram is the triphasic pattern. Triphasic means it has three waves. AG means agonist and ANTA means antagonist. So in the flexor group of muscles, agonist first peak occur. One indicate first peak of the positive peak. After a latency in the antagonist muscle, then the peak appear. And the third peak occur or second positive peak of the flexor occur after the sometimes of the ECR, action potential. So what you will find in EMG, there is a triphasic pattern. Number one, positive of the agonist, antagonist, again positive, and agonist second peak after the antagonist is this is the pattern of normal EMG in a normal person with the normal cerebellar functions. Now this triphasic pattern lost in cerebellar lesion. You will find latency is prolonged. It is prolonged, first thing. Second, it is not triphasic, it is only two waves. Third, it is a slow rise of the impulse, first. And the antagonist, again, slow rise of the wave. So this is a very important function when we will find the dysmetria. So the changes seen in the EMG waves, this is the triphasic, this is not a triphasic. Latency period is increased, prolonged agonist action, and delayed antagonist burst. So the problem mainly with the antagonist EMG modulation, turning off during the rhythmic task. So there is change or decrease in the gamma activity. So these changes can be visualized in a joint angle. There is a pendular movement. In the flexor muscles, EMG, this is a dashed line is the normal one before the lesion, and the solid line indicate the cerebellar lesion. So after the lesion, you will find there is repeated peaks. Similarly, in the EMG of the extensor group of muscles, repeated. So adding these two impulses, now the joint angle EMG changes would be pendular. So there is a number of the specific functions which are assigned to the cerebellar function. Number one, damping action. So the action or the movement of the muscle is smooth and accurate. Control of the ballistic rapid alternative movement. Timing and the programming of the movement is very, very important. So there is no overshooting or under marking. Servo mechanism means it recollect the memory of the learned actions which is stored in the cerebral cortex, and the comparator functions which is coordinate of the various activities regulated by the corticocerebellum. So it also, besides this, it also regulates tone, posture and equilibrium. So if there is a lesion in the cerebellum, there is a no muscular coordination, no equilibrium, unsteady gait and weakness, relaxing also delayed, contraction irregular, not smooth, and there is a dysarthria, means speech disturbances. Now the functions, dysmetria means there is a lack of accuracy. You can say there is a lack of accuracy. So dysmetria designate the lack of accuracy in the voluntary movement. So this is the unconscious function of the cerebellar which governs the conscious movement. So the dysmetria is a loss of ability to judge the distance and the speed. So there may be either hypermetria or hypometria. So the person cannot aim the mark properly or accurately. Dysdiadochokinesia. There is a disturbance of the reciprocal innervation, or you can say coordination or the agonist antagonist muscle will be disturbed in the rapid alternate movements. Hypotonia. Joint may be either extended or it may be flexed in extreme position because it also regulates the tone and posture. intentional tremor, because to correct the dysmetria, the person will try to reach the goal and there might be oscillations. So, intentional tremor is not observed at the rest, but during reaching a target, tremor become established. So, during rest, there is no tremor, but as soon as the person aiming for the mark, then there is a tremor. So, because the timing and programming of the movement and duration between the movements is done by the cerebellum. And the resting tremor if occurs, then the differential diagnosis would be Parkinson. And if it is a postural tremor, then it is, we can thought that it might be due to the drugs. So speech in cerebellar disease, there is a ataxia of the speech, or you can say slurred or dysarthria, as in the drunken person. And it is a comparative functions coordination of the various activities. This is regulated by corticocerebellum. Friedreich ataxia, this is a hereditary cerebellar disease. And acquired is the spinocerebellar ataxia. If it is hereditary, it is known as Friedreich ataxia. Acquired due to the spinocerebellar ataxia or truncal ataxia. So if we go in detail about the causes, there is a vascular, degenerative, demyelinating, metabolic toxicity or neoplastic. So clinical signs, what we can elicit in the cerebellar disorder: rhythmic tremor, rocking or rotational movements few times per second, disturbances of extraocular movements, nystagmus, impaired tracking, decomposition of the movements, just like dysmetria, dysdiadochokinesia, dysarthromokinesis. And the best treatment till now we know is 5-HTP, clonazepam, vitamin E. Besides that, there is a symptomatic physiotherapical improvement. So if the case patient comes, delay initiation of the movement, displays an uneven trajectory in moving her hand from above her head to touch her nose, and is uneven in her attempt to demonstrate rapid alternation of pronation supination movement of the hand and forearm. Which region of the brain is most likely contains the lesion? Humerus. Similarly, with the patient having difficulty and coordinating the use of his arm in meaningful ways and unable to move his finger accurately and difficulty in making rapid alternate rotational movement, then you must think the cerebellum is affected.